Have you ever wondered what it would be like to relive your childhood memories, those innocent, carefree moments you thought you had forgotten? What if a simple piece of candy could unlock the past, taking you back to those times you've tucked away in the corners of your mind? But beware, because not all memories are sweet. Some are twisted, buried for a reason, and once they resurface, they might unravel more than just nostalgia. In Candy of Your Past, Lily is about to discover that the past isn't as innocent as it seems. Each piece of candy she eats brings her closer to a truth she had long since buried. A truth so horrifying, it threatens to consume her very soul. This Halloween, follow Lily on a chilling journey into her forgotten childhood, where every bite pulls her deeper into her own darkness. Some memories are best left forgotten. Lily stood in front of the counter of a small candy shop she had never noticed before. It was tucked away at the edge of town, a place that seemed out of sync with the world around it. The window display was filled with colorful, ornate jars, each brimming with different types of candies. But what caught her eye was a package of assorted sweets behind the counter. The packaging was simple, yet strangely nostalgic, a faded label with the words "Memories of Youth" printed on it in looping old-fashioned script. The shopkeeper, an elderly woman with sharp eyes and a soft smile, noticed Lily's interest.
"Ah, those are special,"
she said quietly, sliding the package toward her.
"Every piece unlocks a taste of your past. Be careful not to eat too much at once."
Lily laughed it off, thinking the shopkeeper was playing into some marketing gimmick. Intrigued, she purchased the candy and headed home. She wasn't a big candy person, but something about these sweets tugged at her curiosity. Later that evening, Lily unwrapped her first piece of candy. It was a hard, red confection, shaped like a tiny heart. The moment it touched her tongue, she felt an immediate rush, a wave of nostalgia so powerful that she closed her eyes, letting the memory wash over her. She was 8 years old again, sitting in her grandmother's kitchen. The scent of freshly baked cookies filled the air. Her grandmother was laughing, her warm, loving presence filling the room. It was a cherished memory, one Lily hadn't thought about in years. But something was off. As the memory lingered, it began to twist. Her grandmother's smile faltered, and her laughter turned into a slow, unsettling wheeze. The room seemed to darken at the edges, the warmth draining away, replaced by a creeping coldness that settled in Lily's chest. She opened her eyes, gasping for air. Her grandmother, once filled with life, now stood before her, eyes sunken, her mouth twisting into a silent scream. The corners of the room warped, shadows stretching like claws along the walls. Lily jolted upright, the candy dissolving on her tongue. Her heart raced. What had that been? She shook her head, trying to brush it off as an overactive imagination. But deep down, something inside her stirred uneasily. Over the next few days, curiosity got the better of her. She found herself reaching for the candy more often, each piece revealing a different memory from her childhood, her first day at school, playing with friends in the park, her 10th birthday. But every memory held a dark undercurrent, a shadow lurking at the edges. There were small details she didn't remember, moments that felt wrong, twisted, as if the memories had been tainted. As the memories began to emerge, flashes of suppressed recollections crept in, hazy, unsettling images that sent shivers down her spine. She started to recall whispers from the past, faint echoes of laughter mixed with distant cries that seemed to echo through her house at night. The more she ate, the stranger things became. Her reality started to blur with the past. She'd find herself staring at old photos for hours, trying to reconcile the memories with what the candy had shown her. She began hearing voices in her house, faint whispers that grew louder after dusk, as though the walls themselves were speaking in tongues, revealing long-buried secrets. The lines between her memories and her present life began to blur, and then came the nightmares. Lily dreamt of her childhood home, but it was different, darker, decayed, as if abandoned for years. She saw herself as a child, running down the halls, but something chased her, a shadowy figure she could never quite see, but could feel watching, waiting. One night she awoke to the unmistakable sound of a child's laughter coming from the hall. Heart pounding, she scrambled out of bed and searched the house, but nothing was there, just the cold stillness of her empty home. One evening, after a particularly vivid nightmare, Lily couldn't resist the pull of the candy. She unwrapped another piece, her hands trembling. As soon as she tasted it, she was pulled into a memory she had forgotten, or perhaps repressed. She was 5 years old, standing in the backyard of her childhood home. There was a swing set, one she had played on countless times, but this time she wasn't alone. Another figure stood behind her, a little girl she didn't recognize. They were playing together, laughing. But as Lily watched the memory unfold, the laughter stopped. The little girl turned toward her, her face pale and her eyes hollow.
"Do you remember me?"
she asked. Lily's stomach twisted in fear. Suddenly, the memory shattered, and Lily was back in her living room, gasping for air. She had dropped the candy on the floor, but the taste lingered, bitter on her tongue. She knew that girl. She had seen her before. But where? The answer came to her in a wave of horror. The little girl wasn't a stranger. She was a reflection of herself, her younger self, a part of her past she had buried deep. Lily's obsession with the candy grew. Each piece pulled her deeper into forgotten memories, unlocking secrets she had long since buried. The girl in her memories appeared more often now, her presence growing stronger with each bite. With every taste, Lily felt a gnawing sense of dread creeping in, a growing awareness that something terrible had happened in her past, something she had erased from her mind. She tried to rationalize her feelings, telling herself she was just a child at the time, but deep down she knew the truth. What she had done was inexcusable. Flashes of memory became more vivid, showcasing moments that revealed her intent and premeditation. She remembered how she had planned her horrific act, how she had reveled in her secrecy, and how even then she understood that nobody would suspect an innocent little girl of such darkness. The girl in the memories was a reminder of Lily's guilt, a dark secret she couldn't escape. Every piece of candy forced her to relive it again and again, each taste consuming more of her. Lily realized too late that the candy wasn't just unlocking her past, it was consuming her, feeding on her regrets and guilt. The more she ate, the more the lines between past and present blurred. Her reflection in the mirror began to change, her eyes growing darker, her skin pale and hollow. She was becoming the hollow version of herself, the same figure she had seen in her nightmares. As Halloween night approached, the whispers in her house grew louder, filled with mockery and sorrow. The little girl appeared more frequently in her dreams, urging Lily to remember, to confront what she had buried. The weight of her guilt pressed heavily on her heart, and she knew the time had come to face her past. On Halloween night, Lily found herself standing in front of her childhood home, which now appeared even more decayed and sinister in the moonlight. The air was thick with an oppressive stillness, broken only by the rustling of leaves and the distant sounds of trick-or-treaters. The house loomed over her like a tombstone of forgotten memories, and the faint smell of smoke seemed to linger in the air. With trembling hands, she pulled out the last piece of candy from her pocket, a dark, twisted confection that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. The girl's laughter echoed in her mind, coaxing her to take a bite. She hesitated, heart pounding, knowing this was her last chance to reclaim the past. As she bit into the candy, memories flooded back, clear and vivid. She was 5 years old, smiling and laughing as she swung high on the swing set. But then came the shadows, the horror of what she had done, the cold realization that she had acted with intent, burying her guilt beneath a facade of innocence. In that moment of catharsis, Lily felt a shift within her. The memories coalesced into a haunting understanding. She had not only been a participant, but had also crafted the horror of that fateful day. The little girl's hollow eyes watched her with a knowing gaze, and in a final act of redemption, Lily stepped into the house, ready to face the consequences of her past. As she slipped into the darkness, the street where Lily's childhood home stood grew brighter. The soft yellow glow of Halloween decorations now seemed to complement the flames licking at the sides of the house. The fire grew larger, turning the home into a macabre ornament, consuming the memory of the unspeakable horror she had fought so long to repress, brought to life by a strange box of candy. Lily's story reminds us of the power our memories hold over us, how the past can shape us, twist us, and if left unchecked, consume us whole. Her journey into the darkness was paved with the sweet promise of nostalgia, but what she found was far more bitter. As the flames of her childhood home burned brighter, so too did the horrifying truth she had repressed. Some memories cannot be undone, and sometimes the only way forward is through the fire of consequence. This Halloween, remember, not every treat is as innocent as it seems, and not every past can remain buried. The next time you find yourself craving a taste of the past, ask yourself, are you ready for what comes with it? If you enjoyed this story, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and remember to hit that notification bell so you never miss another chilling tale from the Haunt Vault.